right. So welcome to Referee Pack, voting seminars in Houston, Houston media. I'm sure the media folks will have lots of input as to how to do these things better, but in the meantime, you're stuck with me. So here we go. I am going to show you a little bit about special districts, and let me share my screen. Great. So here you see this precinct 912 that I was showing you before. All right. And what you'll see as you get to the bottom are the special districts. Not everyone has special districts. If you live in the city of Houston, it generally is going to be on the outskirts where you start to run into these things. They are very common the more you get out of the city center urban areas. So as you get into the suburbs or more rural, that's where you tend to start seeing these things pop up. They have a useful purpose, and that's why it's also important to keep track of them. So right now, what I pulled up is the WCID group. So if I go to this, it says Director 1, but you have to click on it before you see, okay, this is WCID. And you can see the board of directors here. And one of the first things that you can see is that Mr. Williams, his term expires in May 2023. Mr. Strickland, his term expires in 2023. So you've got two board members that are up for election in May. If anyone files before the deadline, which let me stop share and go ahead and look up that deadline. I put it in one of the emails, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it is. Secretary, Texas, filing May. Okay. Secretary of State, filing and other frequently asked questions. Elections and voting, candidate information. Current election information. Okay. Once again, I am running short on filing periods. Notice of deadline for applications, listing the dates in which the authority maintains an office. By the way, right now, I'll pull that up right now because there is an election that just started today. And if you live in Montgomery County or the Woodlands area, you're going to want to know about it. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Okay. Voting for 8 village committees in the Woodlands begins today. So this is one of those special elections that they can do in a special district. Neighborhoods like HOAs, they have to follow certain election laws as well. Near as I can tell, they haven't really been audited the way they should. In the meantime, this is kind of the thing that you're looking at here. And so they don't necessarily need to follow all of the same rules that your usual special districts do that collect taxes. And that's the big difference, is fees versus taxes. Okay. All right. So I am still unclear as to when the February deadline is. It's in February. Yeah, not useful. This is just general information. Elections and voting. Voter information. Okay, so once again, I'll have to look it up. Okay, in the meantime, here we are. We got 2 people coming up. Filing deadline sometime this month. If you were interested in running, these folks do get paid something like $100 a month. School districts, the school board members, they get paid $0. Thank you for your time and your service. All right, so moving on. Now we've found the WCID. Okay, so this is sort of on the back end. And you'll see this pop up every once in a while, is that you can see that there are 5 directors. And if I want to go and find them, if I'm looking at a brand new special district that I haven't come across before, and I want to find out what's going on with them, what I would do is go to this website here in the state comptroller's domain, and they have a special district public information database. Okay, so here's where I would say entity name would be 110, county would be Harris, report year, we'll do 2022. Let's do 2021. I don't know if the 2022s are in yet. And then we'll say submit. And it was unable to find it. Okay. WCID. Harris County, 2021. Wow. Okay. We're going to have to go after this one. Lovely. Okay. Let's do 110. We won't specify the county. Let's do 2021 and do that one. Okay. So as you can see, the search fields are a little on the tight side. And here's the one that we were just looking at. So there it is, Water Control and Improvement District. One thing to understand about this database is that they only know about the entities that followed the law and sent them the information. I have come across one district and then I lost it while I was looking things up that was not in this database. Otherwise, I would have reported it. So if you're looking up a district, it may not be in here, but you have to search pretty good to double check that it's not actually in there. So here you can see the board members. Now remember this 2021 report. And the important information here is that you can see their filings go up to 2022. The information about their bonds, gross receipts, cash, all that information is in there. If you want to find out anything that's going on with their election, you have to contact their lawyer. So what you are looking at is this company name right here. This is their lawyer. And so you would either send an email to Ms. Daniels or call this number and ask to talk to whoever's handling the district and ask your question. And sometimes that is just really the easiest way to get through. Well, another thing that you will find is that a lot of the particularly smaller districts are all using the same lawyers. So one year, whenever I was tracking down information, I ended up calling the same law office, I don't know, 5, 6 different times about different districts. And then they finally said, okay, just give me your list and we'll tell you if they're our client or not. So that was rather funny. Okay. So this is the special district information. Now let's go and take a look at the emergency services district. Last time I was working on those, they were not in this database. So let's see if we can pull this up. No, I'm gonna just double check 110 again, see if it comes up if I put in, 2023, that'll get you everything. Okay, let me just double check to see if it's in there. Okay, so that's how it popped up. Great. All right, let's try spring 2021. Okay, here we go. Emergency Services District 11. Great. Okay. Let's look at 7. Emergency Services District 7. So, was it 2 years, 3 years ago? A lot of these weren't in here. And they were organized by a spreadsheet out of the Department of Agriculture, I believe. So it's really good to see them in here. All right. So if we take a look at District 7, this group, Covalier and Peeler, they're one of the lawyers I was telling you about that keep on popping up. And so you would either email Ms. Pierce or call if you are trying to figure out, is there an election going on? Should I be voting in it? That's because a number of these districts are just way too small for there to be any interest. Okay, let me show you another thing that'll pop up. I'm gonna stop sharing while I work on pulling this up. Okay, so that is, all right. Road imp, oh, I see. Yep, there was. Okay. I am looking for Road Improvement District 1 operating out of Houston, or is it Friendswood? It's on the border between Houston and Friendswood. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, let me share my screen again. All right. Okay. So here's the kind of articles that I used to write for Patch. I don't write in that blog anymore because I discovered major systemic failure around gender medicine. Wrote it up as I was pulling up the information for what I think is ultimately going to be charged as medical battery. Not sure. I don't really work in criminal that much, but if it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So whenever I wrote it up, that was labeled as transphobic, whereas being concerned about the safety and civil rights of people who identify out of their sex is about as anti-transphobic as you can get. Nevertheless, I got blocked out of Patch. So we have ended our relationship and they owe me a bigger apology. Moving on. This is the kind of thing that I used to post in there. So for example, this Road Improvement District number 1, they're supposed to have 5 directors. And they've been sitting with 4 for a very long time. And whenever they went down to 3, I finally called them up and said, hey, what's going on? Are you supposed to have 3 or is it 5? How many directors are supposed to have? And the lawyer wrote back saying, well, it's supposed to be 5, but they were down to 3. So I wrote it up saying, hey, if you live in this area, then you should see if you can do some service and you get paid $100 a month. Okay. All right. So let's see if they're in there. So that was Road Improvement District 1. Road. On the boundary of Houston. Okay, so we will say Houston and see what comes up. Okay. How many pages do we have here? 18 entries. Okay. So we got Road Improvement District 1. What is this called? Harris County. It's Harris County. Okay. All right. Baker Clay, Harris County Road Improvement District 1. Okay. So here we go. They still have 3 people in this road improvement district. They're supposed to have 5. Okay. So literally you could just contact the lawyer, Norton Rose Fulbright, say, hey, I want to be on the board here. And as long as you don't have any felonies or, if you meet the minimum standard, they're going to have to figure out whether or not they're going to do an appointment to hold an election. But nevertheless, they can't sit there and say no because they only have 3 people. Now you have to live in that area. And so you'll have to contact them to see if that's your area, but it's in and around precinct 0475 in the city of Houston, which is Harris County. Okay. Other nearby areas are 0474, 0699. Unfortunately, these are older precinct numbers prior to redistricting, so it could have shifted around a little bit, but you can see where it is. All right. So that's the introduction to special districts. So whenever if you contact us and say, hey, we need help with this, we're more than happy to help. Donations are accepted. If you want to do it yourself, you go look up your property taxes, see which special districts are billing on there, contact them. And if you're not sure where they are, general Google search doesn't pull them up. This is how you find them. So that's the special district lesson. Next week, I think it'll be time to, well, we'll see what happens next week. Depending on the feedback on this video, we'll see what happens next week. All right. Well, y'all take care and stay safe and see you next week.